What's up, everybody? This is the last Tuesday interview of 2022 at Mortgage Coach, Sales Boomerang, No Bar or Left Behind tribe. Couldn't be more pumped to have Dan Keller as my special guest today. What's up, brother?
Hey, good morning. Merry Christmas.
Good morning. So this is a first time for everything. I mean, I've evolved this community over the years, and I look back at what was the first year I started doing the top 10, top 12, and I realized first couple of years it was top 12, then it was top 15, then it was top 10, but I'd always mention a few others. And guys, I started this whole process of doing this in 2015. So check this out, Dan. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Oh yeah.
This is the first time I did this article, and look, I had Simon Sinek is the most watched interview that I had done. Darren Hardy was number 2 on the list. Dave Ramsey was number 3. But look, as we scroll down here, who's that guy?
Oh, no way. Look, glasses and all.
Video, and you were part of that. We had Kelly Zitlow. So guys, I've been doing this for a long time, and I decided that I'm gonna do something different this year. I'm gonna create the article from this video and from this conversation. I'm gonna co-author it with Dan Keller, and not because of who he was 15 years ago, but the fact that he's been consistently leaning into this community, consistently being transparent with what's working, what's not working. And then he does have the most viewed personal video. Scriptapalooza was the most viewed in the winter this year, but Dan came in second. But you know what? Dan came in first in a couple really important categories. So I'm also going to share my screen one more time and show you guys. This is the article that I'll be posting. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be the top 10 Mortgage Coach videos and the top 5. I don't know if I'm going to call them mega trends or takeaways, but there's 5 things that we'll talk about during this call. But check this out, guys. Dan is number 2, but he's number 1 in terms of the most liked, had over 350 shares. So it was the most shared. That means someone looked at it and actually shared it with someone. So dude, what's up?
Wow. That's pretty cool, man. That's
Isn't
awesome.
that cool?
That's good. Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any reason to doubt why it was so viewed. It was I believe it was that video where I was just talking about, how 2020 exposed my sales game and how I needed to go back to really understanding how to make better sales calls. And you only find out how to make better sales calls by doing them. I mean, it's like with anything, whether you're in baseball or you're whatever sport or activity it might be, you get better through repetition. And we had gotten away from making sales calls to realtors. And so I was sharing a little bit of pain, but then also tactics. And so I think that that's why, because people could take it and put it to work and make some money as a result of listening to it. So good job, man. That was a good video.
Yeah, no, you killed it. And I'm going to go ahead real quick and share the other top 10 real quick. Okay, we'll have a full article, breaks this down, have links to all of them. For all you managers, I really make this content so you can use this content to teach and train. Check this out. Number 3, scripts, import scripts from Jeremy Forcier. I mean, guys, it's really clear y'all want scripts. Number 4, how Shayla Gifford is winning with realtors. Think about the headline: Jeremy Forcier, Realtor Playbook. Denise Donahue and Keith Cunningham, how to have 25 conversations with realtors this week. Ryan Hill's halftime report. Jeremy again, database alert scripts. Todd Bookspan, new loan officer playbook. And closing it out at number 10, Nicole Ruth, helping listing agents and buyers agents. So one super clear trend, guys, is this was a year to bring leadership and coaching and help to realtors. This was a year to really build those real estate communities. And then I am going to share the top 20. I'm not going to go through these line by line, but in the article, guys, we'll have 11, 12, all the way through 20. Because I just want to, there's hundreds of these interviews in this YouTube channel just from this year. And in this playbook, I'm also going to put links to all the top, I don't know, 10 to 12 in previous years. So Dan, let's get after it. First of all, well, let me think. Well, first of all, any comments you want to make on any videos that you've watched this year or that you've been involved in making? Let's do this because we both like sports and it's coming down to the playoffs.
Yep.
So let's do 4 quarters, and we're 7 minutes into the first quarter.
Yep.
So we're halfway through it. Let's just do this quarter talking about, top videos in the community and how to leverage this community. And then let's go quarter 2, we'll do, what do we think the 5 lessons learned are? And then we'll go Q3. We'll go like how to advice on how to leverage some of these learnings to kick off the new year. And then Q4, we'll see if we get questions. We'll just be ready to close strong. What do you think? You like the game plan?
Love it. Love it. Let's roll.
Okay. Yeah. So what are some top videos from your perspective?
Well, I think that, so you pulled that up a minute ago, and I think that what was clear to me is you got Denise Donahue, the nerd, who's probably having the best year of any loan officer that I know. Okay. And just crushing it with realtors. You got Jeremy Forcier, who's the guru on sales. He just knows, he's been doing it for so long, knows what to say, and he just puts in the work. Okay. And so we have actionable items that we can take from strategic from Denise. What is she doing different? Because she's winning in a market where it's challenging for a lot of other loan officers, including myself. You had Jeremy Forcier, who is very tactical and very polished when he is talking with realtors and loan officers. And then you've got, who was the other one? Todd Bookspan, one of the goats in our industry.
I'll pull up the list one more time.
Yep.
This is a little reminder.
Yeah, I saw Todd on there. You got Nicole Ruth. So she's in the trenches with Denise, me, Jeremy, putting in the work, and Todd. You got Shayla, who's just, who's one of the best that has ever originated a loan. I think we've all learned from Shayla over the last 10 or 15 years. And it's just, so those are your top 4 or 5 that keep showing up. And then the topic, Dave, what are the topics? The topics that these great people are talking about is having better relationships with realtors, going out and meeting more business partners, getting better at what to say. And so I think you have to understand that. I think, you do an amazing job in the mortgage coach community, but this should be a huge, like, red alert. What do we need to do more of in 2023? I think you need to bring in more people that are actually putting in the work in the trenches, that are talking with realtors, that are very good at sales, kind of less of the old people or the tacticians, the inspirational speakers, the motive. We don't need that. I think the loan officers want the Dan Kellers who was vulnerable, that said, hey, my business, 2022 exposed my business. And here's what I found by being exposed. And here's what the heck I'm doing about it. I'm not pouting about it. I'm doing something about it. More of the Denise Donahues that's closing 700 or 400 something deals this year. What are you doing right now? You got leadership like Shayla, who's managing loan officers. You got Jeremy Forcier, who's a producer just like us. What are these guys and gals doing? What are they saying in a market that's very similar for all of us? Less homes to be sold, higher rates, so less mortgage loans to be originated. But what are these people doing in their markets to stand out and to win? So I think that was what was super clear to me, is you got people that want to learn. They want to learn the X's and the O's. They don't need a John Gruden or a John Madden in the halftime in the locker room giving them this motivational speak. They need hey, I need you to run 10 yards down, and I need you to block that guy because we're going to throw to this person. That person's going to do that. And so instructional, directional versus the inspirational and rah-rah stuff.
Yeah, totally agree. I also want to activate the community. I mean, we've got a good group of folks in Zoom. I actually interviewed Jessica Uphoff last week. Jessica, it's great seeing you in here. By the way, I think if I would have interviewed Jessica earlier in the year, she might be in this top 10. I'll go check and see how many views. But we got a lot of really smart people. I'm not going to start calling out everybody. So guys, if you have questions for Dan, if there's something you really want us to unpack, share that in chat. Also in the Facebook group, we got a nice little live Facebook audience. So if you have questions for either one of us, let us know. And then remember, we're going to use this pillar content for the article that's going to go in LinkedIn on Monday, which is a resource to all managers. So you could sift through all the gold in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. And also, if you want us to do something different, let us know what you want us to do different. So what I want to do in these last 4 minutes of the second quarter, I want to give you my feedback on how I'd love for y'all to use this YouTube channel. First of all, one of the things I've learned about myself is, there's consuming content, and I consume a lot of content while I drive, while I walk, while I work out. And I always think of that as just mindset. There's the mindset version of that. And I get a lot of value from that. I get ideas, I get quotes, I get things that are value. But where I really get the value is when I listen to it while I'm moving and doing stuff, and when I re-listen to it and I take some notes. And because I'm ADD and dyslexic, sometimes I need to multi-channel, get it in different channels. But my goal in using this YouTube channel to really just reshape the mortgage industry, I see an industry in 2025 and 2027 that is, yes, there'll be some transactional loan officers, Rocket, online, big banks that close loans on time, great rates. It's going to become more commoditized by this. But I see a time where there will be people like Dan Keller. There will be people like just about everybody I interview that are mortgage coaches that are really focused on financial freedom and how debt can be used to achieve the American dream. And the American dream of home ownership, where the home's either paid off and we're not under financial stress from that, or people have gotten more savvy to where they have enough money to pay it off. So that I create this channel to help loan officers transform from loan officers to real life changers, the single most valuable advisor in America. So my push to everyone is listen to this content, this positive content, but then re-listen to this, take notes, make changes. And if you're a manager or leader or a coach and you're responsible for the success of other people, don't just think, hey, here's a video, watch it. Hey, here's a great video. This was a key idea. I think the whole thing's gold, but don't miss from 10 seconds and 35 seconds to this. Really take this content and leverage it to help folks. So Dan, you got a couple minutes to wrap up Q2 on just, this channel and these videos. What advice do you have for folks?
Yeah, it's kind of what all of us are doing, because we're in the age of just consuming information. And I think our brains right up here, we only have so much space. I was talking with my wife about this the other day, and I'm always, when I'm in my car or even at home or around the kids or whatever, I'm listening to something, and it's not music most of the time. And so we're always consuming information. And so I think this is a time where consumption's good, but implementation is better. And so I think that at some point we've got to go. That's what I did this last year. I went out and realized that I needed to get better at making sales calls. And so instead of watching and listening to all these sales scripts and sales videos from in and outside of our industry, I said, okay, I really love this tactic. I really love this approach, this formula that I learned outside of our industry. How can I bring it in? How can I make this my own when I'm calling realtors? How can I make this my own when, I get an appraisal back and the guy said, hey, Wells Fargo just reached out to me and said they can get me this or an arm. How do I handle those objections versus information consumption is great, but what's really going to make us the money is getting really good at understanding how to be great salespeople. And at the end of the day, that's what we are. I obviously take an educator's approach, have a background in education. I think we should all get good at educating, but what we do every single day is sell mortgages. We help people we're influencing people to make a smart financial decision, and that's sales. A good salesperson can persuade and influence a client or a person to make a great decision for themselves. And so I think that's what my motivation was this last year, was getting better at that. And it's less consumption, more implementation.
So I'm going to share my screen one more time, and I would love everybody's help on this, because I really want to make this, this call is about reviewing the channel and reviewing, what we learned. So Dan, I'm going to go into that question next, but I'm going to have a little section at the bottom called, what are the most valuable videos in this channel for loan officers today?
Mhm.
And you notice Dan said, you're scripting around what's your rate. So there is a video with, I think it was like 10 all $100 million producers on
Yeah.
what's your rate. I'd recommend, go back and re-listen to that. I think all the Scriptapalooza interviews were pure gold. You notice, Dan, I put your most recent interview is like, what's most valuable to loan officers today?
Yep.
Guys, while this interview was several months ago, it's just as gold today as it was months ago. And then I do think, being able to have the date, the rate, marry the home conversation, that it's not over. We still need to be able to get families from pre-approval or on the fence, under contract, and to close escrow. I had a call from the president. I won't want to call the company's name, but let's just say it's one of the top 10 builders in America, a mortgage company that, all their job is to close those new homes. And they have an incredible conversion, but they're having real challenges getting them from under contract to close. And he called me because he saw some of our interviews and he saw the way that we're showing, MortgageCoach is showing seller concessions, seller buy downs, the way it's really bridging people that like, hey, it's a good time to buy the home.
Yeah.
Marry the home, date the rate. Like, guys, I really think going into the beginning of the year, that's one of the single most important conversations loan officers need to be able to do. So Dan, we are now in Q2 of this game we're having. What are some of the biggest lessons learned, and what are some of the most important, call it mega trends, that loan officers need to crush coming into the new year?
Yeah, you're gonna hear me say it another probably half dozen times before the end of the call. I think one of the biggest lessons learned in 2022 is that most mortgage originators aren't great at sales. They just aren't. We haven't had to, and I've been saying this for years with realtors. Like realtors, they call themselves, yeah, I sell real estate. I'm in sales. No, you're not. You're in marketing. You literally get, unless you're banging the phones every single day and making outbound sales calls, you're not in sales. You're average at best negotiators. You go put up a real estate agent with a lawyer, they're going to get smashed. So they have no negotiating skills. Like they have no higher level negotiating skills, meaning they haven't been taught negotiating at a university or legal level. Okay. They have very little sales skills unless they're making outbound sales calls, which very, very few realtors are actually making outbound sales calls to prospects. So they're marketers. That's all they do. They get a listing and they market the sale, and 90% of the marketing is the MLS because it syndicates it and sends it out because of technology nowadays. So I teach coffee with Keller every single Friday, 10 o'clock at my office. And I've been doing this since 2012, and I open it up to all realtors. Any realtor that I've ever had a conversation with, I invite them to it. And outside of COVID, I get anywhere between 12 and 30 people that show up, realtors that show up every single Friday. And a lot of it is a sales tactic, some type of sales tactic. Well, 2022 for me was a big eye opener that I've always thought that mortgage loan officers were dealing with objections every single day with realtors, with borrowers, hey, Wells Fargo or Bank of America's got a better rate than me. Hey, can you match their rate? Stuff like that. So I've always thought that we're pretty good at sales. 2022 exposed me. I'm average at sales. Average. I'm not making 40 outbound or 50 outbound sales calls to realtors, to prospects, to business people every single week. So I'm horrible at sales, actually. So I think that's something that I think is really big, that I think is going to be a hot topic in 2023 in our industry, is how do we get better at making sales calls, sales specific calls to a cold prospect or to a prospect in general, or to our clients that we've already put in the work with, and then they come back to us with an objection on rate, an objection on, I just don't, I'm getting cold feet. I don't know if I should buy. So how do you deal with those? I think that's big. I think the other thing you said that's big trend-wise is you just look at my pipeline for the past 3 months. If you're not acing and offering a 3-2-1 or a 2-1 buy down to every single client, I think you're leaving money on the table for your clients. We all know the data is showing that lower interest rates are on the horizon, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, or 24 months from now. The 2-1 buy down gets us to a lower interest rate environment when that time comes. It saves them money. So at least being an advisor, an educator, and just sharing the benefits of that, I think is so big. So trending by seller paid buy downs. I think the other thing that's trending, you got to really get good at sales, and you're only going to get good by listening to some of the videos. Jeremy is one of the best. I have a private Facebook group for loan officers, and I made a message the other day that I think that in 2023, my main objective in business is to be the top sales trainer, not trainer, but mortgage loan officer that understands the sales process. Like that's my number one goal, that I will stand out. I'll be able to come into this group and teach sales training, sales calls, how to deal with objections and increase your conversion rate. Cause that's something that I am absolutely passionate about right now, because I've seen how much it has helped me, but how much it's exposed my business this last year by having some weaknesses in that area.
So Dan, I would love to get you on the calendar to just do some Dan Keller sales training. I don't know. Do you think you'd be ready for that in January, or are you going to need some time?
No, give me till March. Cause I mean, right now I'm getting beat up by trial and error. I've got the formulas down. I think I'm making the phone calls to the realtors. What I can tell you is I've aced it with my clients. I think, what is that? B2C is a lot easier than B2B. And I'll, so I obviously I'm a branch manager. So I handpick people that I'm recruiting as loan officers in the Seattle area, and then realtors. So I'm making outbound sales calls to loan officers, realtors, and then our prospects, dealing with minor objections there. My sales process in the mortgage side of things, Dave, in regards to the video content that I produce, my website, the homebuyer concierge page that I send everyone, is so dialed in. I'm really dealing with the people. If I'm getting objections on rate and working with us, it's the 1 or 2 out of 10 that you're probably going to lose anyways. So getting better at those has increased my conversion from closing 8 out of 10 of those objections to, now 9 out of 10. So, but yeah, I'd say give me till March, and then I'll come back in and give a good, how I'm making 100 outbound realtor calls a week, and because I'm continuing to do that, and what I'm learning from it, how I've polished it. I'm tracking I'm tracking the results of all the calls that I'm making, the objections that I'm getting, the resistance that I'm getting, all of that stuff. So let's book something for March, and I'll give you guys some really, really great info.
Well, stay tuned to tell that. We're not going to get Dan's training till March. But guys, right now, if you go back and watch any of the interviews I've done with Dale Vermillion over the past really couple months, it's all about getting back into sales shape. In fact, we collaborated and made a 3.5-hour training program. So I'll put a link to a couple of the Dale Vermillion looks. But by the way, that's another reminder on how to use the YouTube channel. Like if you go to our channel and let's say, I want to pull up Dale Vermillion. First of all, you need to know how to spell. Boom, you can see, specific sales trainings that I've done with Dale, and another way to use the channel. So make sure you check that out. Before we run out of time here in the second quarter, here were some of the lessons learned, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, that I'm going to be putting in the article. One, my advice makes a difference. Like if you're a loan officer and your advice doesn't make a tangible difference, like you need to be, number one, really good at getting first-time home buyers off the fence into pre-approval and into contract and to close escrow. So I was very, broke that down. It's not just off the fence. You got to get them off the fence to get pre-approved. Then you got to get them off the pre-approval fence into contract. Yeah. And then you need to make sure they follow through and close escrow. There's like in previous years, it was just like get first-time home buyers to close a loan. But now there's literally 3 distinct milestones that we need to get first-time home buyers through. And now I love this quote from Wayne Gretzky, where the puck is going. Guys, where the puck is going in 2023 is rates will be coming down. And we need to get really good at getting move-up buyers to move up, even when their interest rate starts with a 2 or a 3. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be different strategies. Like, hey, rent out your current home, still buy, and look at your wealth over 10 years by moving up. Or I know you're giving up that 2 or 3%, but look at how that helps you achieve financial freedom and gives you the lifestyle. Like we're going to have to be very good at having that conversation with first-time home buyers. What are your thoughts on that? Like, number one,
100%.
your advice needs to make a difference, and you need to get really good at those conversations.
Yeah. I taught this the other day to, what do we have? 68, 69 loan officers in our region. The statistics are here, you guys. I read a stat the other day that 46%, and let's say it's off by 1 or 2%, but 45% of mortgage origination volume, I think this is from NAR, in 2023 is going to be first-time home buyer business. I've been teaching first-time homebuyer classes since 2011. It's kind of my bread and butter up here. I know the nerd, Denise Donahue, teaches it. So number one trend, I don't know if this is a trend, something that's going to be a trend. So here, we're skating to where the puck is heading. Start creating messages for first-time homebuyers. And so I want to go back real quick, Dave, because I had 4 things that I think are trending that I think everyone needs to start doing right now at the end of 2022 as they launch into 2023. Number one, we already talked about getting better at sales. Number 2, we talked about understanding the 2-1 and the 3-2-1 seller paid buy down. Okay. Number 3, you just had it up on the screen. Database. I don't care if you have a database of 20, 50, or 500 or 5,000. You have to have Sales Boomerang can help you with this, but you've got to get your database dialed in. You've got to be more in relationship with your people. So what I said earlier, that my business was massively exposed in 2022, I've taken my database. I've been in the mortgage industry for 15 years, over 3,000 people that I actually have in my active database, and I've completely mismanaged it. All right. So my word, every year I pick a word for the year. My word for 2023 is relationship. Relationships. I am going to be in better relationships with people like you, Dave, with people that care about me and that I care about them. But my people that have done business with me, specifically people that have done business with me multiple times or have referred me business multiple times. Why aren't we loving on those people? So number 3, database is so big. And then number 4, you have this lady on all the time, Deb Bird with Plug and Play. I think you've got to get good. And she talks about it all the time, and she creates a lot of free value for loan officers. You have got to get your message out. So we're just talking about first-time home buyers. Create content for first-time home buyers. But if you're not creating content, and I'm not talking about TikToks and this short form stuff that some of these loan officers that are getting hundreds and thousands of likes on, whatever. I'm talking about just getting content out yourself with a 1-minute tip or a 2 or 3 minute how-to video every single week or multiple times a week. I think you've got to get information out about you. That's branding. So I want to encourage you, and this is not a plug for Deborah Bird. I'm just a huge fan of her. In fact, I'm hiring her, and she's coming up here to Seattle in February. But I would connect with DB and learn how to, if you're not, learn how to get better at creating educational videos for yourself and for people. Okay. And then the last part of it, and I'm just telling you what I've done, American Dream TV. Dave, you turned me on to Craig Sewing with American Dream TV back in 2016. I'm one of the longest mortgage loan officers that been in his group. I renewed for another year. So I'm going at it again in 2023 and taking it to the next level. And they've been doing great things. Again, it's just next level video. But here's what I do know about that. It connects you with realtors. It gives you a different value proposition for realtors, because these realtors want to get better at video too. And it helps plug them into a group that'll help take them to the next level and expose them as well. Because I think moving forward, content is king and video content is king. So I think those are the 4 big things that I think come to my mind as we wrap up. We're halfway through this call.
We're halfway through it. And I want to remind folks, we've got those little reactions. So if Dan says something you like, you give a little clap of the hands. Personally, I'm going to give Dan a heart. For those of you that have put questions in here, I will get to those in Q4. When I say Q4, I'm talking about the 4th quarter of this game we're playing. So let's really focus on advice for the new year. So this is a quote that I said from stage at the digital mortgage events in 2018, that technology isn't going to replace loan officers, but loan officers who master technology will replace those who don't. So guys, I've updated this quote because one, I've got a whole new vision of data. Now that I've merged MortgageCoach with Sales Boomerang, I really know what's possible. And And right now in the mortgage industry, guys, we're at data 101. When you look at big tech, when you look at consumer packaging goods, you look at big pharma, you look at how they're using data, guys, we can predict who is most likely to be moving up. Oh, this household just had, they have this FICO score, this equity, and they had a kid graduate from high school. Looks like a first-time home buyer, looks like someone just graduated from college. To be able to take life events with data around mortgages, guys, we will, and we are right now integrating that data insight with that borrower experience. So I'm like so pumped about how loan officers can turn their databases into dollars. So guys, here is the updated quote that I will be saying from stage throughout 2023, that technology isn't going to replace loan officers, but data-driven mortgage advisors, they already are replacing loan officers. A lot of the interviews I did an interview with a vet saying he took over Ryan Grant's team, and he told a story of how he got this cash out alert, and he called the family, and because their FICO score was going down, their credit was going up, and it was a family where the mom was the primary household earner. They had a child in significant health issues, and she was 2 weeks from taking a leave of absence from her job to take care of their child. And by the way, if they would have called 2 weeks later, it would have been like, sorry, they were unfinanceable. But because he got a data insight, because he proactively reached out to that family, he was able to, one, do a loan. So as a loan officer, he won. And two, he was able to unlock that equity and put that family in a position where the mom can take a leave of absence and they're set for years, 2 years. So guys, when you think about data, it's not only to go on the offense and not lose a loan to another lender, it's about being able to anticipate the needs of those family members and really, deliver that client for life experience. So Dan, before I pull up some of the other key takeaways for this Q3, like what should people be doing in January and February? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've listened to you talk for a long time on tech. I was listening to something on social media the other day about a different industry, but I've attached it to the mortgage industry. I think the mortgage industry is changing. I think that it's going to be changing in the next 10 years drastically. But for right now, 2023, the industry is changing. The economy is changing. Real estate is changing. But the game isn't changing. It's the players in the game have to change. And I think that's so relevant. I think you said something a little, along those lines in one of those slides, that the players have to change. The players have to adapt. Just look at the rules in the NFL, since we're sticking with the sports theme. You go back and you look at the 80s when I grew up watching NFL football, and we were taught growing up that you're going to take someone's head off. Lyle Alzado, all these guys, right? These monsters, right?
You agree, baby?
Oh, dude, you feared middle linebackers and defensive ends. Nowadays, they get penalized for hitting a guy for burying their helmet in the guy's chest, right? And so the game has changed, but you go look at these players. They're still bigger than ever. They're still stronger than ever. They're still faster than ever.
Oh, they're had to adopt. I mean, they're fast. I mean, it is the game is faster.
Yeah, it's faster. But the players, they had to change the game because the players. So I think we can make impact in the mortgage industry if we change, if we start creating more content and we get the message out to people out here in Seattle that, in my professional opinion, this is one of the best times in my 15-year career to ever buy a house. It's the year of the first-time home buyer. But you go and you turn on King 5 News or Cairo, any of the three main news stations, and what do you see? House values are down. The market's dropping. Mortgage rates are at 7%. All negative info that's going to steer people away from creating wealth if they were to make a solid financial decision. We can leverage the 2-1 buy down. We can refinance you when rates drop in the next year. First time in probably 4 or 5 years that we've seen home values come back down to an affordable level in certain areas of Seattle. Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking? We need to be talking about that. So the players can change. So creating content, elevating your video game, going out and connecting with more realtors. Yes, we want your business, realtors, but here's the thing. More so, I want to teach you. I'm a content creator. I've been creating content since 2008. That can help your business, but I have a message that I need to get out, and it starts with you, realtors, because you're out in the trenches with me. And so I think if we're doing stuff like this, you guys, we can change the game, but the players can change it versus the game changing the players.
All right. So let me go through my 5 things that I put in the article and see if, Dan, you want to edit anything. And then remember, guys, Q4 or the fourth quarter here, we're going to hit questions first. So I put advice. My advice makes a difference. Your advice makes a difference. Needs to be what your whole business is built on. Like if you can't deliver advice, even if you do get to your database, you're not going to be able to show up with and solve problems and be a solution provider. So you gotta be that advisor, not that transactional loan officer. And then of course you do need to be monitoring your database for signals and proactively delivering service and value by giving the right mortgage strategy at the right time. Like annual reviews are valuable, but calling someone in your database on the day or the month that they most need your advice and their service you provide is the best. Number 3, Dan, tell me what you think about this, is the real world has been redefined. You know, grandma loves Zoom. Most top producers have mastered a high-touch, high-tech experience with Zoom and MortgageCoach. And you need to do that with both borrowers and realtors. So that's like fundamental shift. Number 4, this was just reflecting on a lot of the interviews I've done. I know multiple loan officers that, and while we didn't focus a lot in Jessica Uphoff's interview, she's going to do over $200 million this year. And she, in her marketplace, her core marketplace is Denver, Colorado, and she relocated her family to Newport Beach, and she's still killing it. So we're seeing marketplace expansion. I talked to a $100 million producer, Michelle Bobart from G-Rate, and I'm going to be interviewing her. She now lives in 3 markets, because a lot of she was downtown Chicago. That's still her core market, but she's living her primary residence in Colorado Springs, and she's, doing winters because she loves to ski in Park City, and she's killing it. I could go on with loan officers I know that are living exactly where they want, how they want, and they're killing it. I've also seen a lot of loan officers that are, like Jeremy Forcier. Hey, man, my marketplace is within a 2-hour drive, and he's got a Tesla, self-driving Tesla. And dude, the guy works a 2-hour drive marketplace. So market expansion, mega trend. Dan, by the way, just to check in with you, do you agree with both of these as big mega trends for the future of lending?
I think so. I think so. The market expansion is, I think we still need to be getting belly to belly and face to face with realtors. I think Zoom can only get you so far, and the phone can only get you so far. I've learned that in the last 6 months since I've been showing up. So if you're going to expand the markets, I still think you got to be face to face, because if you're not, someone will. And real estate lending, dude, it's relational. It's relationships. So I tell my realtors this, I tell my loan officers this, you want to be in front of your realtors, because if you're not, and this is how I look at it, I believe that my realtors deserve Dan Keller. I don't want them working with a broke loan officer or someone that is not putting in the work and that can't take as great a care of them and their clients as I. And so I want to get face to face with them, because I don't want some broke loan officer that has nothing else to do but getting face to face with them and swiping my business and providing a disservice to them, because they could be getting better with me. So I do believe that market expansions is a trend, but we got to make sure we're getting in front of those realtors.
So I want to make sure I'm super clear, guys. When I say the real world is digital, it's also physical. So Dan, by no means, like the future and the present is that combination of in-person.
Yep.
I'm going to go meet someone for lunch at a local golf course. And no, we can't do that on Zoom. But part of when you talked and you advocated for Deborah Bird in social media, that's digital.
Yep.
Part of why you invested in the American Dream Guys, that's digital and physical, because it's a digital platform, but he uses that to get physical in the real world with realtors. Like, hey, come to my offices, we'll make some content together. So really clear here, guys. Even if you did move, you still got to go back and have meetings and have a physical world. But it is the hybrid of a digital and physical way will allow for one, market expansion. And like in Jeremy Forcier's case, he's driving, 2 hours within where he lives. And then my fifth megatrend is realtor leadership and agent coaching. And Dan's a great example of this. Really all of the $200 million producers that I interview, they execute on this strategy. They're building tribes. Again, it's physical and it's digital. It's digital in the fact that they've got a private Facebook group and they're creating content, but then it's also physical. So what are your thoughts on that being the fifth megatrend?
Yeah, I agree with it 100%. I agree 100% with it. I think you're spot on with all of those. And I think what the loan officers listening to this need to do is they need to take a look at this, understand, again, what you're trying to teach is, and you've done such a great job in this community for the last 20 years, is you're kind of giving us an idea where the puck's going and what the best of the best are doing. And so, I'm copying, and I have for the last 15 years. You have a top producer on there, whether it be Jeremy or, Tim Brahim. I learned a lot from Tim early on, and Hunter, and I mean, anyone, Shayla, Denise, Deborah. Gosh, they're on here for a reason, because they're doing something right. I mean, that's how I got you. That's how I was introduced to Craig Sewing with American Dream TV. I heard an interview and I'm like, I need this. I'm already doing video. His platform will get me way up here. Plus they edit it and they do everything. Oh, and by the way, they connect me to the 10 of the best realtors in the area, and no other loan officers can do this in my market. Genius. And so listen to what these people are saying. These pros are saying, take one or two tips, implement it into your business. And if you were to go back and interview all of these people, I know for sure, like a Denise, and like myself, and I know like Jeremy and some of these people, that's how they've built their careers. From coaches, other people, they take one tactic and they're like, I like this, I can do this, and I'm going to put it right into my business. And then they just do it good, and they stay consistent doing it. So I agree 100%. Those are incredible takeaways, Dave.
All right. So before we just go into Q&A and do the Q4, I do want to show my screen and just give you guys a little behind the scene look at, the analytics on our channel. So first of all, you can see, over here is last year. We had over 300,000 views of our videos. This year, we're up to 200 and, a little over 426 views. I think something's always interesting. You'll notice that there are interviews, like Amber Kovark's Appraisal Gap was the third most watched interview this year. Casey Cunningham, Roadmap for New Loan Officers, was the fourth most watched. Now, when I do like top 10 videos of the year, I don't share that. What's Your Rate was the fifth most watched interview. So you really were, Scriptapalooza and Dan Keller were the two most watched videos this year. And then we had a couple from previous years. So I just want to give you guys a little sneak peek at what the analytics like. Another little kind of cool takeaway is, look, this year we had 37 videos with over 2,000 views. And last year, 37 videos were in the 1,000 mark. So it was like we only had 15 videos with over 2,000 views. So just want to give you guys a little sneak peek behind the scenes so you can see the analytics of what's going on in this channel. I do want to really say thank you to anyone that has created content for this channel, anyone that has viewed it and taken action on it. Really, really appreciate you guys. So I want to get that out before we close. So let's go into Q&A here. So Steve Hopkins, and this is for you, Dan.
Yep.
What do you prefer, a 2-1 buy down or a permanent buy down? And if so, why?
No, Steve, that's a good question. So I think every client is different right now, knowing and the data that I have access to from NAR to Fannie Mae to the Mortgage Bankers Association, and how they're all predicting interest rates in the next 12 plus months are going to be down. Fannie Mae is very, very liberal, saying in the 4s. Others are saying in the low 5s. Because of that short-term horizon of rates dropping, I'm a big fan of the 2-1. And here's the main reason. If we spend money on the 2-1 buy down, meaning if the consumer gets the credit for that and they don't use it all, they get that refunded back to them. All right. So I like the 2-1. But every single client's different. There's been some clients where it may not make sense. A permanent buy down is not really going to get you a whole lot for that. If you were to just take that same 2.6, 2.7% credit, or let's just round up to a 3% credit, I don't think it's going to get you a whole lot of bang for your buck. So I think instead of a perm, I'd probably look at an ARM. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm a big fan of the 2-1, but I present one of the things I do, and this is why I love Mortgage Coach, is I will take 2-1 buy down, permanent buy down, do nothing. Okay. And you can take a closing cost credit, 2-1 buy down, permanent buy down. And what we'll do, and then we can do a reinvestment strategy as well. But I think what people are seeing right now is prices have come back down. This is what I'm seeing up here in Seattle. Prices have come back down, and our first-time home buyers aren't real fixated on price right now like they were. They're fixated on payment. And so I'm spending a lot more time going, all right, here's the payment for this home. Which one would you like? So Steve, I think that's how I'm presenting it to our clients. Listen, I'm the cruise ship director, right? I'm kind of driving this thing, but you're telling me where you want to go. And that's what Mortgage Coach does really, really well for us.
So, and I just want to put a layer that, guys, be the guide, be the coach. Don't have a favorite. Be a favorite of educating that family so that they can make an informed decision that solves their biggest problem. And their biggest problem is not today's rate. Their biggest problem is financial freedom. If they don't own a home, they have a problem that you need to get into the home ownership game. So provide education, give them a rent versus own, show them a house hacking strategy that, hey, you can buy a duplex, or you can buy, if it's a single first-time home buyer, let them see the numbers. Don't just talk about house hacking as a concept. Most people don't want to rent out a room. Like, oh yeah, I want to rent out a room. But when they see the wealth accumulation benefits of that and what that could mean to them in 3 years or 5 years, like, oh, I didn't realize it could be $250,000 in net worth to house hack. So don't get committed on the program. Everyone get committed on extreme education. And that means beyond. Consumers don't know what they don't know. And if that first-time home buyer hasn't seen a rent versus own, if that first-time home buyer hasn't considered a house hack strategy or units, duplex, triplex, focus on that. So anyways, thanks, Steven.
Hey, Dave, real quick, let me give the community a treat. This is 30 seconds. I'm gonna give you guys a big treat. Last week, I attended the National Association of Realtors annual Economic Forecast Summit. It was 2 hours. The coolest thing I got from it was their slide deck, okay? In a matter of a week and a half, can I share my screen, Dave? Do I have access?
Oh, come on, man. You always have access. You're gonna give us the slides?
I'll put the link to the slide deck and the actual recording in the comments, but this is my gift to you. Merry Christmas. This has helped me convert 2 people that were wanting this last week that were wanting to sit on the fence, and we're maybe going to put everything on hold. And I'm adding this now to my mortgage planning presentation. So, which I've taken screenshots. So here's the slide deck. But what I want to share with you, this is really great info. NAR is one of the most powerful entities that we have in our industry that we need to follow. So give me a second. I'm going to share with you what I do. Okay. So this one is talking about home price crashes. This is really great. So I snipped that one. Mortgage, we already know about this one. Mortgage, this is the one that I've been using. Oh, no, give me 1 second. God, there's so many good ones here. It's this here, right here. Nope. There we go. Annual forecast. Look at this. So the 2023 forecast of unit sales. So I'm going home prices. So 2023, they're saying 0% improvement, right? Dollar volume and unit sales down. But look at 2024, an increase by 10%. Home buys, and this is nationwide, up 5%. So every market's different, but dollar volume up 15. So units are going to be up. Values are going to be up. I think information like this, we need to get out to people. So read between the lines on this one. The reading between the lines is like 2023 is your year. Because look what they're predicting is going to happen in the coming year. I added this one. Hopeful signs on mortgage rates. We've seen 5 weeks in a row, you guys, where mortgage rates have now come down. So if we start sharing stuff like this is hopeful and helpful info. I'm sharing this. Home prices crashing. So we're talking about statistics. We're talking about delinquencies. We're talking about job cuts and payroll and jobs. So I think I'll put the link to the recording and the slide deck in the comments. Incredible info that we need to be sharing with people.
Hey, let's give Dan a little round of applause. You guys, little clap, little reactions down there on the bottom. It's always fun when you're talking to a screen to get a little interaction from the community. So thank you, Dan. That was sweet, bro. I'm giving you a little knuckles on that. So I want to see some mortgage coaches out there that I'd like to even do a contest around this at who can show the best TCA of getting a move up buyer off the fence and moving up. Like, I think if we can really put a dent in that, one, you're going to really differentiate yourself. No other loan officers out there showing, hey, let me show you how moving up when you got a 2 or a 3 makes sense. Like, what loan officer could do that? And when you look at those appreciation in 2024, I'll bet you that with a little bit of date the rate, marry the house, and a little bit of, look at what your life could be moving up, like now is a time to get that next house, and rents are still great. You can either rent it, which, by the way, guys, I think our goal should always be helping people just accumulate more real estate. Not, again, you're not here to sell. Don't sell your home, rent it out, but you should really be pushing people that every family you're with, you're showing them the lifetime benefits of buying more homes, renting them out, and building wealth with real estate and achieving financial freedom faster. If you just get clear on that is your North Star. Your North Star is someone meets you, whether they're first time home buyer, second time, third time, fourth time, like, you know what? You just hit the jackpot, because I'm going to show you how to achieve financial freedom and build wealth with real estate by making smarter mortgage decisions. And guys, to do that, you need to be a data-driven mortgage advisor. All right, Dan, we are 5 minutes left in the game. Anything you want to cover or any new questions you see come in?
I haven't seen any new questions come in, but yesterday when you asked me to join, you wanted to, I think we could really drive home and hit a home run in the last 5 minutes talking about mission. And I think it sometimes can get overbaked, but the analogy that you and I just used this morning when we were talking, if you think about a soldier, a military group, you talk about a professional team, you talk about a CEO of a multi-million-dollar organization, they don't just say our mission is this. They don't use that word lightly. Your mission, if you're in the military, your mission is to go in and conquer the enemy, right? So you're going in with an objective. If you're a professional sports team, your mission is to go in and win the game, or win the league, win the season. But in the trenches, win the game. And so I think so many people right now might be because it's foggy out. This year, there was a lot of change in the industry. One of the things that I did over the last 3 months is I reconnected with my mission. What is my mission in 2023? And I told you guys earlier, my mission is to be in better relationship with people, my database, realtors, and more realtors. And then obviously there's the family aspect of it, VIPs like you. So I think I would get crystal clear on your mission. And then that comes from within you. Everyone's mission is the same. And don't make it about money. Make it about something. Like I got broken this year. Like I got exposed. My business got exposed. You can't go from doing 200 million to less than 100 million and not feel like, whoa, what the hell just happened? And so instead of just sitting here pouting about it, what I started doing about halfway through the year was like, all right, I got to make some major changes here. I got to call more realtors. No, that wasn't it. I'm already calling realtors. I got to get better at taking better sales and then taking better care of them. And so I would dig deep and find out truly what your mission is, what you really want to achieve, what makes you go, what makes you tick. Okay, connect with that, write it down, and then chase it every single day. Hunt that thing down every single day with purpose and with passion. I think that people don't achieve their goals, and they don't achieve, or they're not clear on their mission because they don't know where they're going. You ask a Navy SEAL, you ask a Marine, when they're going on a mission, they know where they're going. There's a game plan. They're aware of all the obstacles that they might potentially come across. They're aware of everything. They've prepared for it. You can't call us having a mission if you're not as dialed in, as focused as an armed forces specialist going on a mission. So I would use the same analogy, figure that out for your business in 2023. If you need help on that, definitely reach out to me. But Dave, I'd love to, I mean, you have a crystal clear mission. You have for years with Mortgage Coach. I'd love you to wrap up and hit a home run with kind of talking about what you've learned from building just 2 or multiple successful companies. But what helped you stay focused on your mission?
So first of all, I think you have to go deeper than the mission, and you have to, at least for me, be really clear on my superpowers. And they're not business tactics. They don't deliver a business result, but they are, what drives me. And guys, I'm always curious, and I'm always grateful. I mean, that is just a value that I have. And, some of it, I think, is just in my genes. It's how I was born. I was a curious toddler. From what I hear, I messed a lot of things up. I used to wake up earlier than everyone in my house, and it was just a mystery to what kind of craziness I created. But that fuels everything in my life. And then from a business standpoint, my North Star is my advice makes a difference. I mean, I was fortunate enough, a little bit of luck, a little bit of intentionality. But 31 years ago, I created a brochure. This is way before Mortgage Coach. And it was my advice makes a difference. And then I've dedicated my professional life to being that guy, that my advice makes a difference. I mean, part of why I interview people every week is I get smarter. It makes my advice more valuable because of all the books I read, all the podcasts I listen to, and the interviews like this that I do. Like, I have become someone whose advice makes a difference. So that's my North Star. And then my business mission is to reshape how people get into debt in America. Like it's broken. If a family gets, hey, here's your rate, here's your payment, here's your cash flow, you are a homeowner, that's only half the race. I mean, the real race, if we want to change the divorce rate in America, if we want to help people out emotionally, it's money, guys. Like, they don't teach financial literacy in school. I came out of, institutional education, financially illiterate, and lived, all of my 20s, most of my 30s, financially illiterate. And so we need to, guys, in the mortgage business, so my business line is to change how people get into debt and to help people achieve financial freedom. And then using technology to do that. That's kind of my seat on the bus in this mortgage space. But that's my North Star. That's my superpower. And Dan, what's your superpower? If there's a Dan Keller superpower, what is it?
Yeah, it's education. My life was changed as a high school and college baseball player. Someone taught me how to change my diet. Someone taught me how to change and work out. And it changed my life. Just how that impacted my life. I just want to give back to the universe and give to others. So education is mine. And hey, can I leave you guys with a 1 minute quote that I want to read you?
Please.
Cool. So my wife and I went on a date last night. My wife loves Whitney Houston. She always has. The whole "I Want to Dance with Somebody" song that comes on, it changes my wife's mood. She absolutely loves it. I know, Dave, you know Jenny. So the Whitney Houston movie comes out. And I was like, hey, we're going to go see this after Christmas. So I took her, we went on a date last night. And one of Whitney Houston's #1 songs that she ever sang was titled "One Moment in Time." And I just want to read you the first verse of this. because I think it's so applicable to mission. It's so applicable to where we're at right now as business people, as we're goal setting and vision planning and heading into 2023. It's called One Moment in Time. And she says, each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm only one, but not alone. My finest day is yet unknown. I broke my heart, fought every gain. To taste the sweet, I face the pain. I rise and fall, yet through it all, this much remains. I want one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be, when all of my dreams are heartbeat away and the answers are all up to me. Give me one moment in time when I'm racing with destiny. Then in that one moment of time, I will feel eternity. That's just the first verse. But I heard that last night. I'm sitting in the movie theater with goosebumps, going, gosh, this firing me up. And we're talking about Whitney Houston, the greatest singer, sold more albums, right? Records than the Beatles, right? A single female artist, one of the best voices of our time. And I think, look at those lyrics. That's us. That's all of us right now as we're heading in. And I just want to encourage you, plug into this community because you're not alone. You have this community. There's so much info that Dave's put together for all of us to just achieve the highest levels of success in our mortgage industry, and then go out and change your communities, you guys. So I'm here in 2023. If you guys need anything, Dave, I think it was a great wrap-up call, and it's just an honor to be a part of your community.
Love you, brother. I really appreciate you jumping on this. Guys, we will have one more call this Friday. I don't know what the topic will be before the new year. It might only be a 30-minute huddle. But, anyone who doesn't come to that next call, Happy New Year. And let's enjoy this week in between Christmas and the New Year's. And thank you. Have a good one, everybody. This call's a wrap.